special series of the Awarelogue Initiative, BIMSTEC, Perspectives and Potential of the Region. On this episode of the series, we will be focusing on Nepal. Our guest speaker is Dr. Pramod Jaiswal, who is the Research Director at the Nepal Institute for International Cooperation and Engagement. He has been a regular and visiting faculty at different universities in Nepal and China. With a PhD from the School of International Studies of the Jawaharlal Nehru University in India, he has authored, edited, and co-edited several publications on South Asian affairs. Thank you very much, Dr. Jaiswal, for joining us on this series. Dr. Jaiswal, when we look at the role that Nepal has been playing in BIMSTEC, we look at the contribution Nepal has been making towards the furtherance of the objectives of BIMSTEC. Could you tell us briefly an overview of how Nepal has been interacting with BIMSTEC thus far?
George, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's indeed a great pleasure to speak at your invitation. Before I focus the role of Nepal, let me briefly highlight how BIMSTEC has emerged as an alternative to SAARC, which is in coma at the moment. We all know that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited the heads of BIMSTEC member countries during the swearing ceremony of his second term, while he had invited leaders of the SAARC member countries at the same event in 2014 at the start of his first term. It was a clear indication that India, which is the largest regional power, will give preference to BIMSTEC over SAARC during his second term. Through India's neighborhood policy during his first term, Indian Prime Minister tried to engage with the neighboring countries through SAARC. He made his first international visit to Bhutan and Nepal. He visited Nepal 4 times in 4 years, including the surprise visit to Pakistan on his way back from Afghanistan. However, there were a series of cross-border terror attacks at Pulwama, Uri, and Pathankot, which put India-Pakistan bilateral relations on hold, and the 19th SAARC summit scheduled to be held in Islamabad got cancelled. Similarly, on the economic front, the South Asian Free Trade Agreement, SAFTA, and the SAARC Preferential Trading Agreement had failed to meet their potentials due to the never-ending India-Pakistan rivalry. Even the intra-regional trade was mere 5% of the total trade volume of South Asia, while the FDI was also just 4% of the total FDI volume in the region. Additionally, New Delhi had lost interest in SAARC long ago in November 2005, when China became an observer member in SAARC due to the pressure from the Nepalese King Gyanendra. We all need regional organizations, including Nepal, need a regional organization for regional cooperation. Thus, Nepal joined BIMSTEC. Nepal made late entry to BIMSTEC in 2004, 7 years after its formation. Nepal sees vast opportunities for itself through BIMSTEC because combined GDP of BIMSTEC member countries amount to $2.7 trillion, which is 22% of the world's population. Approximately 25% of the global trade goes via the Bay of Bengal, which makes the region economically and strategically important. For a landlocked and connectivity-deprived Himalayan country, Nepal, regional connectivity is crucial for its economic development. Through BIMSTEC, Nepal would not only connect itself with Bay of Bengal, but also with the South Asia and Southeast Asia region through rail, road, sea, and air links. It would get access to Chittagong and Kuluna port of Bangladesh and the Kolkata port of India. It would also get connected itself with Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Thailand through land and sea. This connectivity project would not only enhance Nepal's export, but would also attract Buddhist pilgrims from Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia to Nepalese Buddhist religious sites like Lumbini. Nepal can also utilize the BIMSTEC Development Fund to fight poverty. Moreover, BIMSTEC is an ideal platform for Nepal to provide greater visibility to Nepal in the Indo-Pacific region. Thus, as an alternative to SAARC, which is inactive at the moment, Nepal sees immense opportunity through BIMSTEC. During the 4th BIMSTEC Summit, which was held in Kathmandu in August 2018, the member countries realized the urgency to eradicate poverty for regional growth and expressed commitment to work together for the implementation of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. They also emphasized on multi-dimensional connectivity, trade, and investment, economic integration through BIMSTEC. The summit that was held in Kathmandu decided to establish a working group on information and communication technologies to provide more affordable and high-speed internet. An intergovernment expert group was also set up to develop plan of action to improve preparedness and coordination for responding on natural disasters. Nepal also pushed for an intergovernmental expert group to develop an action plan on mountain economy, and other intergovernmental expert group to develop an action plan on blue economy, keeping in mind the special need and circumstances of landlocked countries members like Nepal and Bhutan. The member countries also engaged to enhance energy cooperation, including in hydropower and other sources of renewable energy, agreed to assign the expert group on BIMSTEC visa matters to continue negotiations for finalization and the modalities for BIMSTEC visa facilities, to explore how the landlocked member states can benefit from inland fisheries, and to explore possibilities of establishing appropriate BIMSTEC forums for parliamentarians, universities, academia, research institutes, cultural organizations, media communities, and others to expand the scope of people-to-people contact. We all know that Nepal has huge potential in hydropower sector. It can earn foreign currency by exporting energy to India and Bangladesh. During the summit, member states signed the Memorandum of Understanding for establishment of BIMSTEC grid interconnection and called for an early establishment of BIMSTEC grid and operationalization of BIMSTEC Energy Center to strengthen energy cooperation in the region. Tourism is also backbone to Nepalese economy, and the fourth BIMSTEC summit that was in Kathmandu agreed to take concrete steps to promote intra-BIMSTEC tourism, to assign relevant authorities to advise tourism strategies, and agreed to take concrete measures to facilitate tourism by enhancing safety and security of tourists and a smooth transportation connectivity, to developing and promoting Buddhist tourism circuit, temple tourism circuit, ancient cities trail, ecotourism, and medical tourism. Member states have decided to establish a BIMSTEC permanent working committee, BIMSTEC centers, entities, and others for institutional reforms. Most important was the task the BIMSTEC Secretariat to prepare a preliminary draft of the BIMSTEC Charter that we are waiting for since long.
If we were to look at the future, where BIMSTEC is going, we are going to be having a summit that is taking place in Sri Lanka in March of 2022. But when we look at the future of BIMSTEC, what role do you think Nepal could play? And also, what more can be done for all our member states to come together to deepen the integration, to ensure that we become a formidable grouping on the world stage?
George, we all know that in present times, the Bay of Bengal region is one of the world's least integrated region in terms of trade, connectivity, and cooperation. In fact, it was more integrated in the past than it is today. Hence, first, there is a need to enhance greater connectivity and world-class infrastructures for greater regional trade. The member states should push for financial help from multilateral institutions like the ADB or even the Asian Investment Bank and others. Nepal's proposal for setting up a BIMSTEC Development Fund and the BIMSTEC Infrastructure Bank to implement various infrastructure projects to enhance economic cooperation and regional connectivity is significant. India's effort towards developing the India-Myanmar-Thailand Asian Trilateral Highway and the Kalandan multimodal transit transport projects and the BIMSTEC Motor Vehicle Agreement are remarkable for the easy movement of goods and vehicles in the region. Second, it took 17 years for organization to come up with a permanent secretariat, and it is yet to come up with a charter. And it has held just four summits in the last 2 decades. Thus, there is a need to empower the BIMSTEC Secretariat for greater financial and human resources, have robust, functional, and proactive BIMSTEC Secretariat. The member countries should also provide greater autonomy to the organization. Third, the region also faces a strategic rivalry as it is a vital link for China to access the Indian Ocean region. China has undertaken a massive drive to finance and develop infrastructures through the BRI in almost all the BIMSTEC countries except Bhutan and India. Thus, there is a need for member countries to address, accept, and accommodate the power competition and benefit from this regional growth. Lastly, the region also faces several non-traditional security threats, such as trafficking of narcotics, weapons, and people, the illegal exploitation of natural resources, refugee crisis, emergence of rebel insurgencies and terrorist groups, and natural disaster. Thus, there is a need for greater regional cooperation to fight these non-traditional security threats that has engulfed the region.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Jaiswal, for sharing with us your views from a Nepalese perspective on this special episode and series that is being organized by Awarelogue Initiative. As we focus on BIMSTEC, we look at perspectives and we look at the potential going forward, what this grouping can achieve in the years ahead.